Hi, Ben Carpenter here. I'm going to talk to you about the dangers of relying solely on scale weight when training for fat loss or muscle building purposes. So when you work with a lot of clients, you'll see a lot of trends, you'll see the same issues coming up, you'll see the same psychological habits, things that freak people out, etc. So what I get quite a lot are people who step on the scale daily and freak out when it goes up a pound or freak out when it goes down a pound. So for example, let's say you're a female, you're trying to lose fat, you step on the scale and you're a couple of pounds heavier than you were yesterday, and in your head you're thinking, shit, have I gained a couple of pounds of fat? Honestly, the chances of you gaining a couple of pounds of fat overnight, unless you've eaten an extraordinary amount, is highly unlikely. And as a male, you might have lost a couple of pounds, you freak out, have I lost muscle tissue, etc, etc. So weight fluctuates. It fluctuates daily. So water weight, water retention, how you've eaten, bowel habits, if you've exercised, etc, etc, menstrual patterns, for example, can all affect scale weight, and it will fluctuate easily. For me, I can fluctuate within 5 pounds this week. So I could go up 2 or 3 pounds, then down 2 or 3 pounds, down again 2 pounds, up again 2 pounds. If I was someone who's neurotic about it, it would freak me out. So here's what I recommend doing. If you're the type of person who weighs yourself and sets yourself a target weight goal, what this doesn't factor in is the percentage of lean mass and fat mass difference. So for example, if you're a female trying to lose fat, have you got any idea how much lean mass you will lose or how much fat mass you'll lose? Most people won't. If you're a man who's trying to gain a certain amount of weight, a lot of the time they'll say to me, I want to gain 10 kilos. But at no point do they specify what body fat they'd like to end up. So a lot of people gain 10 kilos and then look in the mirror and realise that they've essentially gained a lot of fat tissue because they haven't distinguished between fat mass and lean mass. So what I'm going to do is give you a couple of examples of clients of mine and an explanation. So what we have, first graph, you can see that fat mass has gone down, lean mass has gone up, and this means weight has stayed static. So this, an example of this, a male came up to me and said that he had previously worked with a personal trainer. His personal trainer, he had weighed himself. No skin fold measurements, no way of assessing body composition. And he had lost a lot of weight. But he said that even though he was the lightest he'd ever been, he still had a lot of fat tissue. So this is indicated here. What you have is weight going down, no fat mass line, no lean mass line. So he's got no idea how much muscle tissue he's lost, how much fat mass he's lost. But the way he described it, he essentially said that he still had a lot of the fat that he had originally, but he was a lot lighter, which would indicate a significant lean mass decrease. Not good news. So we had trained for a while. He was new to resistance training due to a lengthy layoff. And what we had is this kind of scenario. Now, it's important to point out you can gain muscle tissue and lose fat at the same time. If you're new to training or if you're overweight, it is significantly easier to do to a greater degree than if you've been training for 10 years and you're 8% body fat. But it is possible. It's just your own circumstances will dictate to what magnitude. So what we had here is over a few weeks of our training, he had lost, well, up to date, he has lost 13 centimeters from his waist, which would indicate fat mass going down. However, his actual weight has barely gone down by a few pounds. So his weight has stayed relatively static, albeit gone down slightly, but he's lost a lot of fat. So he looks better, he looks more muscular, his waist is slimmer, his shape has changed, but his actual weight hasn't changed that much. Now, if I hadn't spoken to him about what to look for, if I couldn't do skin fold measurements, he would have no idea what would have happened. If he relied on scale weight only, he would have been disappointed. I've had clients of other trainers come up to me and say, I'm losing abdominal fat, but my weight is staying static. what's the issue? And he genuinely saw that as an issue because their trainer hadn't explained to them that for him, lean mass gain at the same time was perfectly feasible. So he was genuinely freaking out that his weight was staying static. So this client, if he was someone that just stepped on the scales, he would have freaked out that our training had been very, very poor in terms of results. However, as he was working with me and were able to take skin fold measurements, he knew that his fat mass was going down, his lean body mass was going up, and he made significant changes to the way he looked. But if he had just relied on scale weight like he would have previously, he would have been demotivated. So, here's what I recommend. If you're a female who wants to lose fat, if these are like common examples, females who want to lose fat who stand on the scale, males who want to gain body mass and again just stand on the scale. Of course you can get males and females in both groups, these are just the kind of stereotypical ones. So rather than picking solely scale measurement, what I want you to do is, ideally you'd get skin fold measurements. I can measure skin folds of my clients. I've been doing it long enough that my margin of human error, if I did it, I can measure someone 3 times and the accuracy stays similar. However, I know personal trainers who haven't done thousands upon thousands of measurements, that if they measured you 3 times in one day, they would get 3 completely different measurements, which makes the whole thing pointless. If someone's accurate enough to be consistent, they can identify trends. So ideally, you have someone who's very good with skin fold calipers, who can identify whether fat mass is going down independent of weight. However, most people, I know how few good trainers there are in terms of skin fold calipers, because for me, I can't even find enough trainers locally to do mine, so I have to travel to get it done. So here's what I want you to do. I would like you, when you're weighing yourself, I would like you to also take your waist circumference. So get a tape measure, measure around the belly button. Don't suck in like most people do subconsciously. Intentionally breathe in, breathe out and relax. And record this like you would your body weight. This is what it allows you to do. So if I pull the board back out, if you're a male trying to gain muscle tissue, or if you're a female trying to gain muscle tissue, if your weight is going up, what you can also do is identify from your waist measurement as a crude indicator of whether your body fat is going up also. The goal with this, if you wanted to minimize fat gain, is for your weight to go up, but for your abdominal girth measurement to stay static, or in people who are more overweight or new to training, ideally you would actually like your waist circumference to go down to indicate body fat loss. If you're someone who's dieting, this is indicating weight going down, no idea of lean mass, no idea of fat mass, no idea what's going on. So you can see your weight going down, but you have no idea in terms of body composition what that means. So also measure your waist measurement. Now, if your weight has dropped very quickly, but your waist measurement hasn't dropped very quickly, this wouldn't be necessarily conducive to fat loss, i.e. people that have gone on very, very sudden diets can lose a lot of scale weight through water loss, etc., but their abdominal circumference might not have moved that much. Ideally, what you want to do is make sure that your abdominal circumference is going down significantly rather than simply relying on scale weight. If you wanted the biggest drop in scale weight, you'd go on a crash diet and you wouldn't weight train, because weight training will help retain lean body mass. So what this allows you to do is be slightly more objective in terms of your own measuring, and it gives you a better understanding of whether you're actually going on a successful path or not. So what this does is it allows people who are neurotic about the scales, i.e. standing on it daily and freaking out if it goes up a pound or 2, it allows them to be more objective, because they'll measure their waist and realise that nothing's changed. These are just natural body weight fluctuations. And for people that are trying to drop weight or gain weight, it gives you a very crude but quite effective tool to assess whether your body fat is going up or down at the same time. So for me, if I'm very, very lean, I know roughly what my body, what my waist circumference is. It would take a lot of abdominal hypertrophy to significantly throw this off, which is why waist circumference is quite a good indicator for people that have got no other tools. It's quite a good indicator of fat mass trends. So if your waist circumference is going down, you are likely to be losing body fat. If your waist circumference is staying static, but your weight is going up and you're on a lean mass phase, that's perfect. If you're trying to gain weight very quickly, but your waist circumference is going up as well, are you being too aggressive with your calorie surplus? Are you putting on too much fat at the same time as muscle tissue? And this allows you to be slightly more objective, gives you another tool to help evaluate your progress. So, hope it's been helpful. By all means, feel free to ask me any questions with your own personal circumstances. If there's something you're not sure on or something you want clarification on, post it on my Facebook page under the comments of the video. My Facebook page is facebook.com/Ben Carpenter Personal Training, or post it to my Twitter page, which is BDC Carpenter, and thank you for watching. Bye.